Good morning, class. Today we are going to discuss in my first YouTube video characters and character traits. We were talking about this last week when we started our novels. I decided us to start looking at characters and character traits rather than anything else because I thought many might be most comfortable with it, especially after our work done on identity together. This kind of ties in well. So, characters are in all novels. It doesn't matter which novel you choose. You will find a character in it, and in that novel, the character will have traits. Character traits can be varied, and they also can change during a novel. And as you watch or as you read your own novel, you might find that character traits that you start with now, at the end, that same character may have different traits. There may be transformations. Also, there's a difference between character traits and character feelings. On that handout I gave out, it pointed out at the top, the feelings are fleeting, whereas the traits are more stable in an individual, but can still change. So at the start of this book, what I'd like you to look at is some of the traits that your character might have. And when I say feelings are fleeting, I mean that your character may have a feeling like being scared, such as in the Golden Compass when Lyra was in the closet and she sees Lord Azrael and the others out there and is scared that she'll get caught. That is a feeling she has, but it's not really a character trait of hers. Lyra doesn't go around feeling scared of everything. It's only in certain situations that she gets that way. But in none of my character traits that I have of Lyra, when I looked at her, do I have scared in there? I have resourceful, intelligent, optimistic. Because that feeling that she had while she was in the closet was just a fleeting one. And what got her actually into the closet wasn't being scared, but was another character trait of hers, which I called mischievous. So today what I'm going to do is just show you how I'm doing the first assignment. And so that will hopefully guide you if you're unable to do it or if you haven't started yet, so you can now see. And for those that have finished, I've noticed some of you haven't done it exactly as I've done it, and that's all right. Don't use me as your judge. Use your own self as your judge. I see some wonderful work coming in, so that's good. So for me, what I did was did not have a computer, so I have to print or write everything out myself. So I took that sheet that we have where it looks at character traits and found it from your, where you're looking at for it through your book. And I found these various traits of Lyra. So some of her traits include being independent. And on there, I find that on page 8. She sneaks into the meeting. So I put independent and adventurous at the same time, as well as mischievous. These are kind of all traits that we could find in her. And sneaking into that meeting is one of those mischievous traits that I have of hers. Another trait I have on her is coarse. So sometimes when she's just talking with her friends and others, she seems coarse. So on page 21, I have her talking to Billy Costa. And on that page, she's very coarse when she talks to him. She's it's not that she's necessarily rude, but she's just matter of fact and to the point and not being very necessarily nice about things, being more coarse in her language. And this seems to be pretty typical of Lyra, not only with her peers, but with other authority figures in general. And we'll see this, since I've read the book before, I know this as it goes on. Another one I have is intractable. So intractable is a bit of a big word. Tractable usually means manageable. So someone that is manageable is tractable. Someone that you delegate a task, you ask them to go do things, you know they're going to go do that, and they're a very tractable person. You can count on them. They'll do what you request. They won't really fight with you too much. And they'll be able to do your request. Whereas Lyra is the opposite of that. She's a bit intractable, right? She's not allowed to go into that meeting. It's a bit of a part of her mischievous quality. She does things that she's not necessarily allowed to do. She's not even allowed to go into that room at all. She does it without permission, and she does it knowingly without permission. She wants to know what's in there. It's a bit of mischievousness, curiosity, intractable. She's being told to do something, and she's not doing it. So that's not one of her traits. I had much more, so that was how I filled out my character traits and evidence section. I just drew it out myself, put on one, wrote the page number on there. and put the traits on one side, evidence on another. Others of you did various other ways. You printed out actually the document and put it on there, or found other creative ways to show me the character traits that you found. Excellent. The other part of the assignment was the wheel. And for the wheel, I have already put it onto my paper bag for my paper bag method, because I already have it up here. I'm going to use this one. I'm not going to actually use that other document that we created for my paper bag method. You can feel free, if you find it useful for yours, to use it for yours. But I found this one more useful for my character part. So I just taped this right onto my bag. And as you can see, I just redrew the wheel, the assignment that I gave you. I redrew it myself. And then I inserted all the necessary information into the boxes. Now, if you look through my wheel, you'll notice it's interesting on thoughts. In my novel, my author actually doesn't go into the thoughts of the character. In other novels, you might be into the actual thoughts of the character. So for me, I had to infer the thoughts that Lyra was having, because the author doesn't always really go directly into her character's thoughts, whereas your novel may or may not do that. So when you're filling out this wheel, if you're finding parts difficult or it doesn't make sense with your book, or you can't do it, leave that spot blank and then just get back to me, a quick email, and we'll talk about how it works with your book. It might not quite meld perfectly. Yeah. And that's really all I want to talk about doing this assignment and starting off with character. I'm really just getting you guys introduced to what a character is, and by doing these assignments, we're now getting our minds kind of gelled around the same thing. We had a conversation this week about it, and next week I'm a little bit more on the ball. I got my YouTube channel going. I'm going to post the assignment right away. So I'm going to get doing to that. This is the first assignment. I'm going to now start doing the second assignment that I've handed you this week for settings. So that is bye for now, and I will see you soon looking at the settings assignment.